Welcome, people of the World Wide Web. So it's Cypher Sigma here, and it's the weekend and it's movie review time. So as you know, it will be one battle after another. So this is the new movie from Paul Thomas Anderson. Previously, I've done Punch Drunk Love and Licorice Pizza. I've seen Punch Drunk Love, haven't seen Licorice Pizza yet. It runs for 2 hours and 41 minutes long. It's quite a long movie. Has a, I'd say, ensemble cast of Leonardo DiCaprio as Bob, Sean Penn as Colonel Lockjaw. You have Benito del Toro as Icon Sensei, Regina Hall as Dinandra, Taninga Taylor, Taninga Taylor as Perfidia, and then you have Chase Infinity as Willa. Essentially, you have this is based around a group of people who are trying to overthrow not overthrow the government, they're trying to rebel against the government, against immigration. And they go, and it's Leonardo DiCaprio and Bob and Perfidia and Doreen and a few other people. They're doing this organisation. They come across Colonel Lockjaw in the very first instance because he has the base where the immigrants are. They free them all. Unfortunately, Lockjaw tracks down the mum. There's a situation that happens with Lem. She gets arrested and turns all of them over, except for Bob, who gets away with Willa, the daughter of Perfidia, and what we believe to be Bob. I'm not going to smile anymore on that side of things. And then there's a story of Lem later and basically this Colonel trying to go after these people because he wants to join this organization, and basically because he's kind of linked with this this government, this group. He basically needs to get rid of them for one reason or another, and that is the story in a nutshell. So we'll put the spoiler warning up, and we shall get into this. So yes, as I said, it starts off with you have Leonardo DiCaprio meeting up with the rest of them, and where they break into this base. Sorry about the bad edit there. That's Postman always dropping off stuff. So yes, so Leonardo DiCaprio and his group have basically freed some immigrants. They come across Colonel Lockjaw. He is kind of terrorized or infatuated with Patruda. Sorry about this croaky voice. Or Perfidia, as Parad's name is, the partner of basically Leonardo DiCaprio. He then tracks them as they're doing some bombings and stuff like this. He kind of catches her and says, you know, like, I want one night of kind of intimacy with you. If you do that, then I'll leave you alone and let you do what you want. It happens. She gets pregnant, and basically then they're doing a heist. And it goes wrong as basically Bob is left at home looking after the child because Perfidia kind of goes on a spiral. She doesn't want to be held down by or anything else. She is captured. She turns most of her crew over. They're all shot and killed. And then essentially it forwards on like 15 years. And we have Willa, the daughter. She's obviously raised by Bob in this Albrook town. And then you kind of see the other side. The Colonel wants to join this agency, the CAC. And basically they're very like within the government and all these high people and stuff like this. He goes, basically, you can't have any affiliations with anybody of colour, which obviously he has. So obviously Colonel Lockjaw hunts him down to basically get rid of it because he doesn't know if Willa is his daughter or not. In between this, the CAC hire another person to go after him to clean up the slate because they find out about this. So you've got that going on, and then basically Colonel Lockjaw finds them, terrorizes the town, starts going in and getting rid of all the foreigners and everything else to basically as the guys to do this. In between that, basically tracks Willa down, does a DNA test, find out, unfortunately, surprise, surprise, it is his daughter. So he goes to basically get her killed, gives her off to another colleague who goes to take her to this kind of group of guys who are basically going to kill her and hide her body. She manages to escape, gets out, drives away. But the person who is trying to clear up the whole thing from Lockjaw, CSC, this bloke comes across Lockjaw and kills him, and then goes after her. He is then killed by Willa in an accident, and then basically Bob, they're reunited, and they kind of have this happily ever after, then moving on. and they kind of get together. So what did I think of the movie? I was going to rate it 4.8. I'm going to rate it a 5 just because I've had a little think about it. I know a lot of people like it. I think I always rate 5 or above as least worth a watch. I think people should watch this. There's some scenes near the end of going over hills, which I think is shot really, really well. Obviously, how it then ties into the final scene of the crashing in the car, I thought was great. And near the very end, I started to connect with the characters. But the problem I found with this, it was the characters are so haphazard. They're so all over the shop, and there's so many plot holes in this movie and stuff that I can see easily that I don't relate to the characters as much. As I say, you got Leonardo DiCaprio as like this terrorist group, so to speak, like that, and he's paranoid and takes a daughter away, and then decides to live in a place where there are photos of them everywhere. There's a calendar that has the address of a martial art thing of a contact that he's friends with, and he just smokes and drinks. And there's no, apart from a tunnel, it's not, which he just smokes and drinks, obviously smoking drugs and stuff like this, makes him paranoid and stuff like this. And I was just like, you're not really prepared. And I know he says like in one scene, like he didn't expect Lockjaw to come after him. He expected it to, which he doesn't kind of find out. He just suspected it was his wife, who's basically seen as a traitor because she basically dubs everyone in so she gets to live and then kind of escapes and goes to Mexico. Even though at the end of it, by her daughter, she's seen as like a freedom fighter and she wants to follow in her footsteps, which I thought that'd be really weird to realise what your mum did and dubbed everybody in so she could live. Would that really make you feel great about your mum? I know I wouldn't necessarily have done that. As I say, the characters, like, they're played well, but I mean, like, Sean Penn's just a weird character. Like he like his first interaction with Perfidia, and then like he manages to straight track it down. The next time they're doing a robbery, he's there watching them. Like I'm like, well, the government aren't doing a very good job if this colonel can find you straight away at the next thing you do, and even then and tracks her again. It's like people aren't doing their jobs if it's that bloody easy. Then obviously even the colonel, his role was like, why would you want to join an organization which you then find out don't, he likes people of color and that you're not allowed to be associated with them. It's like, why would you have had even the contemplation that you want to join this magical group if that's part of it? Surely you would know about this. It's not common, it's common sense. There's bits where like he's tracking some of the people down, and there's a firefight between like one of the members of this group, and you've got all these cops, and then he's there, an army general, an army fatigue with a bulletproof vest with police on it. I was like, what? Surely if they're after these people and you've got the police, and literally it's full of police, it's no one else, it's police, and then there's a general with a bullet. I was just like, that just looks so out of place. And then obviously you have like the plot holes and stuff. Like there are a few little bits that are good, but some stuff isn't explained with the immigrants and everything else. And saying that Benicio del Toro does have a bigger role. He's trying to keep this rifle for him, which uses at the end, takes 2 shots at someone, doesn't hit anybody, and then basically is blazed down by all these other like they're a bit. I'm not sure why that was even in the movie. There is the T-junction bit, so Leo's tracing after him, this organization that have these devices which supposedly track each other and halfly work. He's carrying one all the time and it doesn't work half the time, and he gets his T-junction and they go, oh, he's gone right, when his daughter actually goes past him on the way there, but he doesn't know it. But he gets there and finds that Lockjaw's been shot and all this stuff like this. And then he's waiting around for ages or something and trying to find out. And then obviously he'll get back in his car at some point. You don't see him get back in his car. And magically 2 minutes later, he's caught up with everyone else. And I'm just like, you wouldn't even know where they were going. That doesn't make any sense. Like the bloke from the CAC that come to kill Sean Penn's character, shoots him in the face, shoots him off the road, gets out of the car, but doesn't go there and check his bloody pulse. And I'm just like, moronic. You know, there's all these little things that just it's like someone's written a story and then is just going, well, we'll make it kind of like it isn't in a fantasy world. And when I say fantasy world, when you watch movies, there's a little bit of refined, there's, when you get these happy movies, they have a happy ending and stuff like this, or, or the good guys come out good on top, or this happens and that, that is a fantasy. It doesn't always happen in human life. In most ways, there's a lot of bad things that happen. And now this movie kind of like, well, we'll keep the good ending, but we'll keep a lot of silly stuff, can be just, overshadowed and stuff. And I say, like, there's this, when Regina Hall's character, which I really like her, she turns up at the school and then converses with Willa and takes it with her. But at no point did she ever think, oh no, she tells me she hasn't got a phone, I've not met her. Maybe if I actually pat her down just to make sure she hasn't got a phone, and then it rings, and then she throws it out of the car. But she's on the way to like this nunnery, which there's nothing else as far as you can tell in the thing. So I'm like, well, surely you're going to know that people are going to come meet there. She gets there, all these nuns, the right actiony type ones, are using guns and stuff like this. But then when the army turn up and the next kind of scene or two, everyone gets arrested and nobody puts up anything. It's just like, well, you're not very good freedom fighters and stuff like that. It seems to be that logic went out the window in this movie. I know it's rated a lot of high. People are loving it, thinking it's the best movie ever. Personally, for me, it's not, as I say, it's a one-time watch. I'm never going to revisit this again. I think, it could have been so much better in my eyes. But that's been my review of One Battle After Another. Have you seen this movie? Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. Otherwise, I shall see you in the next one.